There comes a moment in every shut person's life when silence becomes heavier than fear, when the world stops waiting for your voice, and you have to decide whether to step forward or stay hidden. This is the story of someone who finally chose to rise, to speak, and to discover the power they never knew they had. Adwale had always been the quiet one in every room. In classrooms, meetings, and family gatherings, he sat at the edges, speaking only when someone asked him a direct question. Words lived inside him like birds afraid to fly, fluttering but never taking off. He admired people who could talk freely, who could laugh loudly, who could express themselves without worrying how they sounded or what others thought. He wanted that confidence, but whenever he tried to speak up, his voice trembled, and his mind filled with doubts. One day, his company announced that a new project would begin, and employees were encouraged to pitch ideas. Adwale had been working silently on a brilliant concept for weeks, but he planned to keep it to himself. His heart beat too fast at the thought of standing up and explaining it. He told himself someone else would come up with something similar, and he wouldn't need to speak. But as the day of the pitch grew closer, he felt a heaviness inside him, not fear alone, but regret building before the moment even arrived. He knew he was hiding from his own potential. The night before the presentation, he sat alone in his room, staring at the notes he had written. They were good, better than he expected, and the more he read them, the more he realized he wasn't afraid of the idea being rejected. He was afraid of being seen. Afraid that speaking would reveal his weaknesses, afraid people would notice him. Slowly, he whispered the first line of his pitch to himself. It sounded shaky. He tried again and again. By midnight, his voice no longer quivered. It wasn't perfect, but he felt something shift, a quiet courage rising from a place that had been silent for too long. The next morning, he felt the old fear return when he entered the conference room. People laughed, talked, and shared ideas freely while he sat holding his notebook so tightly it wrinkled. His turn approached. His stomach twisted. He wiped his palms on his trousers. His name was called. The room fell quiet, and every eye turned to him. His throat tightened, and for a moment he thought of sitting back down, but then he remembered the regret he had felt before. He realized the fear would never disappear if he kept running from it. So he took a slow breath. "Good morning," he began, surprised at how steady his voice sounded. He looked at the first sentence in his notebook, then at the faces around the table. Instead of seeing judgment, he saw curiosity, people waiting, listening. It gave him strength. As he continued, something remarkable happened. The more he spoke, the lighter he felt. Words that once hid inside him began to flow. His idea unfolded clearly, confidently. He looked up fully, meeting their eyes, and continued speaking, not with perfection, but with authenticity. The silence that followed wasn't the cold kind, it was the kind that came before applause. His manager smiled first, then others nodded. Compliments filled the room. They praised his creativity, his clarity, and even his delivery. Adwale stood there almost stunned. For the first time, his voice had not betrayed him, it had revealed him. After the meeting, several colleagues approached him, telling him how impressive his idea was and how they hoped he would speak more often. He felt something warm spread through him, not pride alone, but relief. He had not been invisible after all. That day, Adwale learned something powerful. Confidence wasn't something other people were born with. It was something built one step, one breath, one brave moment at a time. Speaking up didn't mean the fear vanished. It meant choosing not to let fear be the final decision. He still had shy days afterward, moments where words got stuck or his voice shook. But he no longer hid behind silence. He understood now that his voice mattered, that everyone's voice mattered. And every time he spoke, it became a little stronger. What he once thought was weakness was simply unused strength waiting for its chance. And from that day on, he stopped waiting for the perfect moment. He created it by stepping forward, even if his legs trembled, because he had finally discovered that finding your voice isn't about being the loudest. It's about being brave enough to use it. Please don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs this message, and subscribe to the channel for more empowering and uplifting stories that can motivate your day. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content that changes lives one small step at a time.